incident at Banvam where some police officers were even indicted. So they cannot take it anymore. And they are calling for the arrest of these individuals who they have identified to the police. That unless that is done, they are not going to work in certain communities in the Tamale metropolis.
But Mutala, what first of all necessitated this attack?
If you can pick that again.
I'm asking what necessitated the attack. Why did they attack the staff of NEDCO?
So usually VRA goes in, there are reports of illegal connections within the Tamale metropolis. Some people too are alleged to consume electricity but do not pay. There's postpaid meters that they use. So when they go in to recover their revenue or to arrest people who have connected illegally, then there's always trouble. So these are the troubles that usually occasions the alleged beating of VRA staff within the metropolis and the municipality that I know of.
Are there any indications the staff of NEDCO will be resuming their services anytime soon? What are they saying?
I spoke with the union chairman a while ago, and he says unless they arrest these individuals who have abused their staff in Kobolmagu, and then give them assurances that their staff will not be attacked in any community within the Tamale metropolis or the Sanarigu municipality, they are not going to the field. As I speak to you, it is already having a toll on some commercial activities. GBC Radio Savannah went off for nearly 24 hours from 1 p.m. yesterday to about 11 a.m. this morning. The light came on briefly. Just when you called me, the light has been taken off again. And under such circumstances, the staff say they are not moving in to address any challenges. In Abu Abu, which is a commercial center, for example, with a lot of cold stores and commercial activity, I am told that light has been off in that area and nobody is attending to them.
Thank you very much, Mutala Issa. We are most grateful speaking with correspondent Mutala Issa, who is bringing us up to date on the strike action by staff of VRA and NEDCO because of an attack meted out to some of their members. Now, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana says women have an invaluable role in the agriculture value chain. For this reason, the association says one of its core mandates for its formation is to advocate for pro-poor agricultural intake policies. At a gender sensitization forum on fertilizer subsidy in Bolgatanga, the association commended the government for the fertilizer subsidy program. They say it gives more support to women farmers in their crop yield. The fertilization program focused on improving women participation in agriculture development programs, access to services and resources. It was also an avenue to forge partnerships to make women express themselves, gain confidence, build capacity to solve their own problems, and improve their knowledge on the fertilizer subsidy program. It was realized that women farmers had little or no knowledge concerning a 30% allocation of fertilizers to them. The head of programs and advocacy of PFAG, Dr. Charles Nyaba, was worried that there could be a fertilizer shortage this year due to the increase in prices.
We have seen the government fertilizer subsidy program as one pro-poor program that can support women farmers to be able to increase yields. But experience over the years found that women are usually neglected when it comes to access to subsidized fertilizer. As part of implementation plan for the fertilizer subsidy program, provision of 30% allocation is supposed to go to the women. But having been discussing with these women, we found out that during the implementation, these provisions are usually neglected.
The Upper East Regional Officer for Women in Agricultural Development, Madame Felicity Adoba, said women empowerment-related activities are a necessary component to achieving household food security. She said a greater number of women are unable to farm due to the large size of their farmlands, financial constraints, and the unavailability of the subsidized fertilizers. Some of the participants who spoke to GBC News said they had no knowledge of the 30% allocation of fertilizers to women by the government. They were worried that some men often look down on them because they see women farmers as competitors.
The nature of agriculture today is so fertilizer dependent that if you don't apply fertilizer, your yield will be very poor. So we are appealing to government, they should prioritize women, they should give women the opportunity.
It was very difficult for us actually to get fertilizer, especially women. The men think that we are competing with them, and so we shouldn't be giving fertilizer to farm to be able to get good yield like them. We are not competing with any man. We are complementing men.
The participants were from Pusiga District, Kasna, Nankana East and West Districts, West Mamprushi Districts in the Northeast region, and Sesala East Districts from the Upper West region. The Ghana Meteorological Agency says the country's food security could be threatened if this year's rainy season falls below average. The agency said some areas in the southeastern parts of the country would experience a below normal rainfall for both the March, April, May and the April, May and June seasons. The Director of Research and Applied Meteorology at the agency, Madame Francisca Mate, said a significant probability of slightly longer dry spells were expected this year. She has joined us on the line to speak to the issue. Hello, good afternoon, madam. Why the change in the rainfall pattern this year?
The change?
Yes.
It has been the 3 years.
Madam Mate, I can barely hear you clearly. Can you position yourself well so that we hear you clearly?
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you. I was asking why the change in this year's rainfall pattern.
So what happens is that the ocean, we call it the sea surface temperature, has a lot to do with our inter-part. So if the temperature around Atlantic warms up,
I'm still having difficulty hearing you clearly. Is it possible to reposition yourself again? Because I'm finding it difficult to hear. The lines seem to be breaking. Do you hear me clearly?
I hear you very clearly. So,
please go on with your submission.
So I was saying that the temperature is very important in our rainfall pattern over the country. And the sea surface temperature contributes a lot over what the temperature is doing. And I'm saying if the sea long, then it gives us good rain. But we are finding that the temperature is over the sea, the Atlantic, keeps cooling. And when it's flat, it affects rainfall.
Very well, ma'am. According to your research, the country will experience below average rainfall consecutively for 3 years. How will this affect food security?
Like when we don't rain, most of us rely on rain. Once we don't rain, it will affect us. But it's not that is the whole town. Then the forest rain, having rain. So with some rain, but it will our buff, we are more already depleted. So when we don't have good, definitely going to affect food security.
Situation helpless, or is there something we can do about it to curb it a bit? Is the situation helpless? Is there something we can do to help remedy the situation?
Oh, it's not that simple. I mean, going to have things. First thing before we need for the normal ways to come. Because we would have a big onset. So the irrigation to be in place before the regulations get established.
Thank you very much, Madam Francisca Marte. We are most grateful for your time. In other stories, government says construction of a flyover from the Flower Port runabout on the Spintex Road onto the Tema motorway, which aims to ease traffic congestion, is critical. Assessing progress of work done so far, the sector minister expressed his satisfaction at the level of work done and urged the contractors to expedite work on the projects to meet the deadlines they have set.
The project at Flower Port commenced in 2017 and is expected to be ready in June 2023. The main project at Ashalibutwe School Junction is a 33-kilometer road linking Pokwase, Kwabenya, Awoshi and their environs to the Adentan Medina Enclave. The director of urban routes is Mr. James Amu Godfrey.
We are developing a flyover, or better said a viaduct, all the way from East Legon, over the motorway, over the Flower Port runabout, and also over the Spintex Road 1 to drop just after the traffic lights. We have some runabouts and some traffic lights intersections as well, together with walkways for pedestrians.
The Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Stephen Jalula, said the Spintex Flower Port flyover is dear to government.
It's very critical because if you look at this part of the city, congestion is so much that people who live beyond Adenta, Medina, Asalabuchu and East and all its environs, they take a long time to get to the city center. So far, and the records are there to be checked, Nanado's government is a government that has done so much in road infrastructure than any government in its first 4 years.
Earlier, the sector minister, his deputy and other officials inspected a 6-kilometer project being undertaken by a Ghanaian contractor, Oswald Investment Group, from the school junction at Ashalibutwe to Boteman. The facility will be used by sportsmen in August next year when Ghana hosts the 2023 African Games. They also inspected the construction of Adringano overpass connecting the motorway, a slip from the motorway to the Boundary Road runabout. Contractors for the Spintex Flower Port flyover is China Railway Engineering, whilst Mercer Seamain undertakes the upgrading of a 9-kilometer dual carriage Spintex route from Palace Roundabout to Community 18. The contractors have been urged by the sector minister to complete the projects on time.
Some public health facilities have raised concerns over delays by the government to pay the national health insurance claims and have therefore reverted to the cash and carry system. Our news team has visited some of the facilities and will bring us up to date. I have in the studio with me Hannah Darko. Hannah, welcome. Where did you visit?
I visited the Adabraka Polyclinic and then the Nima Government Clinic, then Accra Ridge Hospital, and then the Mamubi General Hospital. What did you observe? Okay, when I went to the Ridge Hospital, we spoke to the administration, and then they made us aware that the NHIS is in session. It's working all right. But we came outside to speak to the patients to find out their views if really the NHIS was working. They lamented over the inactiveness of the NHIS. Some says they've been at the hospital for 3 days now. The NHIS is not even able to cover a bed. To talk of paracetamol, it only covers the folder and then paracetamol. That's the only thing they get. And then one woman also says she brought the dad to the hospital, and then the dad had issues with the leg or so. Till now, when we went there, she was going to get drugs for her, for the father. When they went there, the NHIS did not cover just even one drug. They had
what
just
reason
did
they give them?
They won't give you any reason. You bring your card, put it in the collection box, and then go and pay at the bank. That's what they tell you. The NHIS isn't working. But then when we went there, they told us the NHI is in session. And when we went to Mamobi General Hospital, it claims that the NHI is working. But we spoke to one guy over there, and he was like, if the NHI covers certain drugs and then does not cover certain drugs, the NHI should come out and then bring lists of what the NHI covers, so that when they are going to the hospital, they will be aware that this is what I should be expecting that the NHI to cover, and this is what I should be paying as a drug. So these were some of the comments they gave. What
was the situation the same as the Ridge Hospital? Did you experience anything different?
The Ridge Hospital, when we went to Adabraka Hospital, for instance, we had no issues. The patients gave their comments that the NHI was working, and then the board also said the NHI was in session. But with the Ridge, the board were saying different thing, and the patients were also saying a different thing.
What was the contrary?
The board were saying the NHI is in session, no issues whatsoever. But the patients, some didn't want to speak to us on camera. We had to, find out. Some even made comments that if they find out that you are going against their orders, speaking to us, the media, they won't look after whoever patients you brought to the hospital. They won't even attend to the patients at all.
Well,
so we had to one way or the other speak to them to tell us what we go through.
Thank you very much. We will now listen to the chief executive of the NHIS.
I think it's just a misrepresentation. The NHIA will always owe providers. Now, when somebody goes for service, we wait for the claims to come. Then we process and then we pay. So it's a three-step process. Ms. Honorable Akando said they have not been paid since July 2021. That is the people who went to the hospital. That is 2021. Those are the claims he's talking about. Now, those claims came to us. Our analysis shows it takes 2 to 3 months for us to get claims after the patient goes to the hospital or clinic or whatever. So from July, we're talking August, September, October, before those claims come to us. Then we have an agreement of 90 days to pay. So those July claims, we're looking at paying them December, January. Unfortunately, we paid them in February. And yes, there are some cash flow issues. So there's never a time we don't owe providers. But what we have to do is try to pay within 90 days of them submitting. If you see somebody in July, and you are now bringing your claims, it is difficult to hold us responsible. So we do owe, and we have fallen back a little. It's not the best. We like to pay within 90 days of submission. We're tracking this and trying to catch up. But I think, giving the impression we haven't paid anybody since July 2021, that is a bit of a misrepresentation. The scheme is paying better than it used to in the past. And I defy anybody who says otherwise. At some point, we're owing close to 2 years in arrears. We are now down to, as I said, from submission to payment, we're down in arrears around two months or so. So it is better than it used to be. Obviously, with financial issues around COVID and the whole global situation, I think providers are beginning to feel the pinch, and we're trying very hard to rapidly catch up. They are loading August into the system as I speak, and within the next week or so, we should be able to pay the August claims as well and load up September. I think it's better than it has been for a long time. You all bear witness that providers have not made any noise for at least a couple of years because we've been really trying to catch up. Recently, with the petrol hikes and all the rest of it, oil price hikes, and the global economic situation, I think they're beginning to feel the pinch. We've had some petitions, and we're every time to try to catch up, to relieve the pressure on the providers.
The General Jurisdiction 10 Division of the Accra High Court in Accra hearing a case in which some groups have sued government over attempts to mine bauxite in the Etiwa Range Forest in the Eastern Region has granted a request by the groups to file additional witness statement. The court, presided over by Justice John Nyante Nyadu, had on April 10, 2021, ordered the parties to file their witness statements and all other processes before Tuesday, March 8, 2022.
Lawyer for the plaintiffs, Mr. Maslinos Biatu, said they had filed their processes except one witness statement which was omitted. They apologized to the court for the omission and for time to file same. The Attorney General, represented by Assistant State Attorney Madam Aisha Adams, did not oppose the request. She told the court that the AG's office has complied with the court's orders to file their witness statement. The trial judge, Justice John Nyante Nyandu, after listening to the parties, granted the request to file the additional witness statement. The plaintiffs in the matter are a group of environmentalists, climate change activists, individuals, civil society and non-governmental organizations who are challenging the government over prospecting for bauxite in the Etiwa Range Forest without mining right. The concerned citizens of Etiwa landscape are Rocha Ghana, Flower Ghana, Ghana Youth Environment Movement, EcoCare Ghana, CASA Initiative Ghana, and some private individuals. The plaintiffs argue that government has already signed a memorandum of understanding with the People's Republic of China to develop the bauxite industry in Ghana, Etiwa Range Forest as one of the sources. According to them, government, acting through the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, entered the forest in May 2019 to explore for bauxite by drilling deep holes, causing damage to the forest, which protects the watershed for 3 major rivers and several streams, serving water to more than 5 million Ghanaians. The group said they initiated the action after several unsuccessful attempts to engage the government on why it should not touch the forest, as it is classified as globally significant biodiversity area and a protected forest. The plaintiffs said they are not against the government quest to mobilize resources through various endeavors, but contended that the Etiwa Range Forest bauxite reserves are richer bauxite reserves and therefore must be kept as such. The plaintiffs also argue that strip mining, the only way to mine bauxite, could result in loss of forest cover, loss of biodiversity, loss of access to clean water, buildup of greenhouse gases, loss of emission reduction services, loss of medical and economic valuable plants, and change in tourism potential of the area. They are therefore urging the court to compel government to restore or pay the cost of damages that had been caused as a result of the recognizance, prospecting, and clearing of roads in the forest. The case has been adjourned to March 31, 2022 for case management conference.
A legal practitioner and lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Madame Natasha Lamte, says the brouhaha on the Supreme Court's ruling to allow deputy speakers to vote while carrying out duties as a main speaker might not be about the ruling itself, but the reasons behind the ruling. Speaking on GBC's Breakfast, the lawyer says the minority side in Parliament is of the view that the ruling favors the majority. On the other hand, the National Women's Organizer of the NPP, Madame Ellen Dakun, said the Supreme Court only executed its role as a judiciary body. We sincerely apologize for the lost in sound. We'll bring you that story in the course of the bulletin. Meanwhile, time to take a break to make way for business.
Hello, it's time for business. My name is Esther Eidu Ohumeu. Ghana's inflation rate has hit a high of 15.7% in the month of February. The increase is 1.8 percentage points higher than the 13.9% recorded in January 2022. This is the 7th time in a row that the country's inflation has been on a continuous rise, largely driven by high food prices. We have on the line an economist, Mr. Eric Chebafo, to speak to us on this. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, madam.
You're welcome. Now, the 15.7% inflation is the highest figure we have recorded since 2016. What impact can this have on our economy?
Yeah, thank you so much for this great privilege. Yes, if you look at now Ghana inflation rates at 15.7%, I mean, it really tells you that the global world is facing economic crunches and economic crisis. Yeah, comparatively, if you look at the U.S., since 1980, U.S. inflation has hit 9.7%, which is unprecedented, and it has never happened in the world. So if you look at the current inflation in Ghana, it tells you that the importations normally exceed the exports. That is the main implication. So it's being determined by the demand and the supply of the various commodities and services that we are using in this country.
So with the rate of increase we are having, do you foresee a reduction in the rate soon?
Yes, there is always a paradigm shift. One of the areas that I would like the government to concentrate much on is, first of all, is to tackle the primary economy and then the secondary economy. Yes, because the primary economy basically talks about the raw materials, and then the secondary economy, that is the industries. So if the government is able to put much more resources into these two kinds of economy, Ghana will turn back. Because I think that there's nothing that a state can do. And two, one thing that the state also needs to do is also revamping the Ghana Stock Exchange. Because currently, as of now, the Ghana do not have money. And it's only the stock exchange that can recruit and leverage a lot of funds for that state. If you look at US, we have the Wall Street. If you go to Europe, you have the European market. If you go to London, you have the London Bullion Market or the London Stock Exchange. So under this pandemic and this crisis, these are the institutions that are raising funds and leveraging for the states. So if the state wants to come back to this single-digit inflation as it has previous years, these institutions need to revamp. They are the main key institutions that will help the economy to grow.
All right, talking about policies, in terms of monetary policies, the MPC meeting has been moved forward. What is your opinion on that?
Sorry?
I was saying that talking about policies, we are now talking about monetary policies. What do you think the Bank of Ghana means by moving the MPC meeting forward?
Yes, well, looking at this current administration, some of us will say that they have done a very, very exemplary well, because policy rates compared to 2016 was somewhere like 25.5%. But this current administration is 14.5%. But some of us, we are still calling in for policy rates in order to induce a lot of investors to also patronize and also invest in the various diversity. Because had it not been that, there is nothing that we also need. Something to work on the policy rates, which will automatically affect the interest rates, and to also automatically affect the primary economy and also the secondary economy. And then thirdly, the Ghana Stock Exchange needs to be revamped. That is the objective.
All right. That will be all for now, Mr. Eric Chebafo. And away from that, price increases in the U.S. continue to surge for February, pushing the annual inflation rate up by 7.9%. The figure is the biggest year-on-year leap since 1982. Rising costs for energy, food, and shelter drove the gains, which are squeezing household incomes. We apologize for the loss in sound. And the Institute of Energy Securities is predicting fuel shortage in the country in the coming days. The IES is of the view the shortage will be influenced by the rapid depreciation of the cedi. The cedi is now trading at 7 cedi 10 pesos to the dollar at the interbank forex market. The rate is at 7 cedis 80 pesos at the Forex Bureau. Mr. Fritz Moses is a research analyst at the IES. He joins us via phone for a conversation on the story. Good afternoon. How does a weakened cedi influence fuel shortage?
All right, so what we are saying is that the two factors of the price influence about the cedi depreciation and the depreciating rate on the international market are what will pull down prices, right? What will pull down the supply of fuel on the local market. This is because BDCs are bringing in or importing the products and looking at, they buy them in the dollar rate. And so, for instance, if they buy in dollars and they come down to local markets in Ghana here, and then our city keeps depreciating, what it means is that they have to add on to the prices. And so if a BDC takes say 100 or 1,000 metric tons of petrol, then brings it into Ghana and the city goes to the pricing window, and he makes his money. He makes his $7,000. The expectation would be on that BDC that when he goes on the international market again, he'll be able to get the same quantity of petrol at the same price. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because he goes and the price has increased. In just this pricing window, price of petrol has increased by close to 5%. And so that means you'll have to increase his, the cost of purchasing the same quantity. And unfortunately, what's happened is the 7,000 cities that he may be holding will not be enough to buy the same 1,000 metric tons, in the sense that the city had also participated by some 4.5% in this window. And so these two factors will push him to either cut down on the amount of petrol that he is importing, or rather to suffer the financial. Every business person is going to make profit. So they look at the best way, which in this sense will be to cut down on the supply and they will bring in. And if that happens, what we will have a supply class that we have in here, because essentially the demand in the local market will not be falling. The demand keeps increasing over the past years, and on average about 5.4% every year. And so the demand will keep increasing. But then again, because of the cost that he or the duties are incurred, because the prices are rising in the international market and the city is falling here too, they will be forced whether to reduce their supply here.
So, Fritz, how long will this shortage persist, and will it take a global turn?
Pardon?
I was asking how long you foresee the shortage persisting, and if it will take a global turn.
Well, I mean, it's like current happening. If government does nothing about the CD exchange rate, or even of course the increasing prices that then we'll be hitting close to shortage in the next few weeks, and in the next month.
You said if government doesn't do anything about it, but is there a way out?
Yes, certainly. You know, the application long ago between government and some of the BDC and of course the central bank to set aside a special regime for the oil sector, so that it wouldn't be affected by the constant fluctuation that you see in the CD exchange rate, the interbank exchange rate that we have here. And so if that's established, and the accountability in the exchange rate will help BDCs to trade, to import the product here. And then again, also, of course, it will be important for us to look at how consumers, government can act on the taxes in the price model. Not the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Finance, is heading towards those directions, and that's what we think we'll be expecting to hear in the next few days.
All right, that'll be all for now, Fritz. Thank you so much for your time. That was Mr. Fritz Moses from the IES talking to us about an apparent fuel shortage. And we'll take the interbank and commodity figures for the day. And that was business. Thanks for watching.